The Boston Red Sox are one of baseball's most storied franchises. Tonight, they visit Houston to take on the Astros and one of baseball's emerging young pitching stars, Bud Norris. Astros and the Red Sox are next on Fox Sports Houston.
Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Fox Sports Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, the Boston Red Sox come to Houston to open a 3-game weekend interleague series. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies, the big bad Red Sox, even though they haven't been playing that well recently, bring a lot of power and good pitching to the field for this weekend series, JD.
Sox just lost 2 out of 3 in Philadelphia. Prior to that, they lost 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh. The Astros catch them at a good time. Not only are they struggling a little bit, but they're a little bit banged up. They've got some key personnel on the disabled list right now. We'll take a look at the pitching matchups for the weekend. The veteran knuckleballer Tim Wakefield tonight against Bud Norris, and Andrew Miller, just up from the minor leagues recently. He goes against Jay Happ on Saturday. Then the finale of the series, Josh Beckett from Spring having an outstanding season. He's up against Jordan Lyles, still looking for that first big league win.
The Astros got the win last night over Texas, and now as they head into this weekend series, they hope they can build on that. Bud Norris has been involved in a couple of 1-0 games lately and trying to get back in the win column tonight against Tim Wakefield in just a moment.
Group for a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. It is interleague baseball. The action continues. Final series of the year for both the Red Sox and the Houston Astros. That's right. It's the Boston Red Sox and the Houston Astros. Astros are 4-8 in interleague play. Boston is 7-8. And the Astros have been playing a very, very tough interleague schedule. The Astros have taken the field. To tell you what the starting lineups are and the batting orders, let's go to the booth. Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies.
Thank you, Greg Lucas. Here we have the Red Sox lineup. Marco Scutaro is the leadoff man, and there was a change. Jacoby Ellsbury had to be scratched from the lineup with stomach problems. Dustin Pedroia, who hit cleanup yesterday against the Phillies, is batting in the number 2 spot at second base. Then it's Adrian Gonzalez, who leads the American League in batting average and runs batted in. Batting third at first base, Kevin Youkilis is the cleanup man at third, with J.D. Drew in right field, Jared Saltalamacchia the catcher, Josh Reddick, and Bruce Sutton, Tim Wakefield rounding out the lineup.
Hard-throwing right-hander Bud Norris toes the slab for the Astros tonight. Look at his last 3 outings. He had been on quite a roll. It allowed 1 and none in 3 starts prior to that game last time out. The top of the list there, Saturday versus Tampa Bay. Worked 5 innings, allowed 6 hits, 3 runs in that ball game. Labored through 5 innings, through 95 pitches. And the Astros got beat 7-2. So Bud 4-6, but with a very good 3.36 earned run average. Peace out, right-hander. Here's the defense. Leaborn and Pence help cover the outfield. Infield responsibility falls to Johnson, Barmas, Sanchez. As Keppinger still feeling a little wobbly, a little ill. Brett Wallace, first sacker. Carlos Corporan does the catching.
July 1st, the Astros had an 8-19 record in June. The Red Sox were 16-9. And now as July begins, it's the first of 3.
Happy Canada Day.
Happy Canada Day. Didn't know about that. Laz Diaz is behind the plate with Corey Blazer at first, Wally Bell at second, Scott Berry at third base. On this umpiring crew, Bud Norris behind the mound, collecting his thoughts before Marco Scutaro steps up.
Well, we don't see this crew very often.
No, we haven't seen much of them. Scutaro gets it going. Good defensive player. And he takes ball 1 up and in. Scutaro with a 277 average is at 137 at bats. 2 homers, 13 driven in. Bud pounds that one in, and it's a 1-ball-1-strike count.
The Red Sox at or near the top in just about every offensive category in the American League. For a high average, they hit a lot of home runs, walk a lot. Scutaro's a guy who's been able to hit for a good average over the years with occasional power, and also work his fair share of free passes. They don't run a whole lot.
They don't really have to, do they? No. Scutaro fouls it back. He's 35 years old. He began his career in the Cleveland organization. Was on the disabled list until June 7th with a strained oblique. He played a lot last year. 632 at bats for the Red Sox, driving in 56. Native of Venezuela. Just missing. Bud Norris will have a 2-2 pitch coming up next. Scutaro's been in the big leagues with New York, Oakland, and Toronto previously. That one's in the air, and they're getting up in the Landry's Crawford boxes on a leadoff homer by Scutaro. Home run number 3.
Scutaro showing a pretty quick bat there to get to that high fastball from Norris. 3rd home run for Scutaro. And the 11th given up by Bud. Trying to go down and away, and 2-seamer ran over the middle and up. Just a good, quick, short stroke.
Ian Kinsler hit a leadoff homer for Texas Wednesday night. And now this one goes to right field. Hunter Pence on the Pedroia fly ball takes care of out number 1.
A little energy in the ballpark today. There's a lot of Red Sox fans here, and that's got the Astros fans all bubbled up. Should be a fun weekend.
Yes, it should. Adrian Gonzalez has really done a job leading the league in several different departments. And he is one of the tough outs in Major League Baseball right now. 352, 16 homers, 71 runs batted in, just punishing the ball. Leading the American League in those two departments. Also, he leads in extra base hits with 44 and in hits with 115. That's ball one to Gonzalez.
He is the only member of the Red Sox who has ever faced Bud Norris. Gonzalez with 3 at-bats off of Bud. Nothing for 3 with a couple of punch-outs.
Norris gets a strike call there to even the count at 1-1 strike on the former San Diego Padre. Gonzalez played a little right field a few days ago in interleague play, so David Ortiz could get a start at first base.
Ooh, good changeup.
1-2. He certainly was fooled by that.
Made a very good hitter look bad. Can there be a more drastic change in environment than going from Petco Park to Fenway?
Probably not.
In terms of the size of the ballpark and the atmosphere around the team and the media following and things of that nature?
Probably not. Foul back. All that energy at Fenway Park. Red Sox have lost 6 of 8. They lost the first 2 in Pittsburgh, won the 3rd game. Lost the first 2 in Philly, won the 3rd game. In his 8th year as a Red Sox manager, Terry Francona, former college roommate of Brad Mills, done very well with his club. And that's a strikeout as Norris crowds Gonzalez.
He got abused. Fooled him with the changeup and then just chewed him up with that slider down and in.
A lot of Red Sox fans here, and they're chanting "Uke" for Kevin Youkilis. A fine player who fouled the ball off his ankle a couple of days ago. Really had an effect on him yesterday. There is ball one to Youkilis, 269, 11 homers, 55 runs batted in. He was hurting so much he had a problem sleeping the night before, and then he had to get an x-ray just to make sure that the bone was not broken. Very painful ankle bruise. 2 balls, no strikes to Youkilis, who was born in Cincinnati, went to the University of Cincinnati. One of the mainstays for this Red Sox team.
Kids all over New England trying to imitate this batting style. Don't do it, kids.
That's a tough one to copy.
Check this out. Ultimately, he gets into a conventional position to hit, but all the stuff leading up to it is very funky. That bat pointed right back towards the pitcher, the hand split.
He sees a lot of pitches, as many of these Red Sox hitters do. In fact, their team has seen more pitches than any other. And it's upstairs. It's 3-2. They can really force a pitcher to be precise. Throw a lot of strikes. Tough team to beat. 165 for right-handed batters against Bud Norris. And he got him on strikes. Scudero hits a leadoff homer, and it's Boston 1 and Houston coming up. you see the others, and it would have been the 50th birthday for Princess Diana tonight.
Klinger, Carl Lewis,
yeah,
Jadwiga.
Michael Bourne leads it off at center. It's Angel Sanchez at second. Hunter Pence in right. Carlos Lee in left. Chris Johnson third. Brett Wallace first. Clint Barma short. Carlos Corporon catcher. Bud Norris pitcher. First pitch. Tim Wakefield is a fluttering knuckleball, and it's in for strike one to Michael Bourne. 288 for Michael. One homer, 26 runs batted in. Michael hits a liner into center field. He waited back and hit a looper just to the right of Pedroia. On with a leadoff single.
Well, Wakefield, 44 years of age, is going to throw that knuckleball about 90% of the time. I mean, he relies heavily on it. Originally signed by the Pirates as a first baseman. That lasted about a year in the minor leagues. And then said, you know, when they released him, they're getting ready to release him. He said, I can do this too. And he broke out the knuckleball, and they said, sure, go for it. It was a long, long time ago.
Angel Sanchez was obtained by the Astros from the Boston Red Sox organization. In the Kevin Cash trade last year, played some very good baseball for Houston in the second half of the season, getting a second straight start for Jeff Keppinger, who's been out with stomach problems last night and tonight. Sanchez was 1 for 5 last night. Pitch out here. Michael Bourne not running, and it's ball one. Bourne leads the majors in steals with 34. He's been caught 4 times. Salta Lamacchia has thrown out 10 of 55. Wakefield's allowed only 3 steals.
Yeah, you know, there's not a whole lot going on with his delivery. So even though the ball's just floating up there at 66 miles an hour, he's just playing catch. There's not a big high leg kick. He gets rid of it fairly quickly. And a lot of guys don't try to run because they think, well, you know what? There's a pretty good chance there's going to be a mishandle by the catcher, a pass ball, a ball in the dirt, a chance to advance that way. So why risk it? Obviously, with Michael Bourne, that's a big part of his game. So I suspect he might try to get one here. Last time we saw Tim Wakefield on the mound against the Astros, it was back in 1993 when he was a Pirate.
18 years ago.
You know, and when he first came up with the Pirates, he was 8-1, you know, in half a season, and really pitched well. I think that was in '92. That was the year last time they went to the postseason, and then they released him a couple years later. He really went through some tough times and was released, and then signed as a free agent by Boston.
He was a position player in the minor leagues before converting to pitching. 2 balls and a strike. Very interesting career for the man who, with 197 wins in his career, leads all active pitchers. And you saw the numbers in that last start against Pittsburgh. He threw 86 pitches, somewhat irrelevant for him.
He's made 9 starts. He's also worked 9 times out of the bullpen.
That's a nice thing about him. If he's not in the rotation, he can help the club in relief. He can pitch often if needed. Really bail out the bullpen. Runner takes off, and it's not caught by Salta Lamacchia. Ball trickles behind him. Michael Bourne easily steals second on ball 3. .35 steals for Michael.
And knuckleball being a field pitch to a great degree, a knuckleballer maybe a little bit more vulnerable in the early innings of the first inning than another starter. All starting pitchers are vulnerable in the first inning until they get locked in, but I would think a knuckleballer would be a little tougher.
Strike makes it a full count now to Sanchez. Bourne in scoring position. Hunter Pence is on deck.
Salta Lamacchia got the, you know, it looks to me like he's basically using a first baseman's mitt. We've seen a lot of guys use that big floppy. That's first baseman's mitt he's using.
Sure is. Bouncer over the mound. Scudero over. And it's Bourne at third, 1 out. And Hunter Pence batting next.
Knuckleball, because of the late unpredictable movement, will get a lot of funky contact. Ball's off the end of the bat.
and on the hands with late movement. Defensively, it's a different look for the Red Sox as they're banged up. Sutton making his first start this year in left field. Reddick making his first start in center field. Scudero in there for Lowry. Pedroia, a Gold Glove winner in 08.
Hunter Pence moves back. Strike one to him. 5-game hitting streak for Hunter. .315 batting average, 9 homers. He's driven in 53 to lead the Astros.
And a whole bunch of those have been Michael Bourne.
23 of them, and this one looks like 24. As the fly ball is caught deep enough to get him home easily to tie the game 1-1. Sacrifice fly for Pence. 24th time Michael Bourne has been driven in by Hunter Pence. That's tops in the majors.
Look at that ball. Look at that thing. No spin at all. Maybe what, a quarter of a turn?
That's fun. Carlos Lee has good numbers against Wakefield. 9 hits and 24 at bats, including 2 homers and 6 runs batted in. It is 7th homer, and he now has 44 runs batted in as he connected last night.
I want to come back as a knuckleballer.
Why not?
I mean, you just kind of started on its journey. You turn it loose, say, okay, go get him. You don't know where it's going to go.
No, you don't.
You can try to throw it a little harder or a little softer and maybe create a little different movement that way. It's got to be liberating to pitch that way.
Carlos lines one into left field by Scudero for hit number 2 of the inning.
Give up a hit, and it's not my fault. It's the ball's fault. I just got it started.
Yeah, that's about it. Look at the lack of spin on that pitch.
Of course, the old adage, see it high, let it fly, as in turn the bat loose, see it low, let it go, because if it starts low, it's going to dip down around your ankles.
Chris Johnson's on a 7-game hitting streak. Taking that for strike one. Chris at .244 with 6 homers has driven in 34 runs. He's hit .306 in his last 16 games. Fred Wallace on deck. No balls, 2 strikes. The Astros have seen R.A. Dickey of the Mets this year. He features the knuckler. That's a rarity. A knuckleball pitcher these days. Foul back.
It's always been a rarity.
Yeah.
You know.
It must seem like more of a rarity now because more teams, more pitchers around than there used to be in the 50s. Runner going, and it's popped up right field line. Gonzalez looks out, and it's looping in front of the right fielder Drew. And a pop fly single for Johnson gives him an 8-game hitting streak. Frequently that happens with the knuckleball pitcher. A lot of soft hits.
Yeah, that's that funky contact I was talking about. Hitter takes a big swing, thinks he's got the ball measured, and then it just moves a little bit off the sweet spot of the bat, either down towards the hands or out towards the end of the bat, as was the case here with CJ. J.D. Drew was playing deep, so no way for him to get there. There's his dad, Ron Johnson, over there in the Red Sox dugout.
Now it's Fred Wallace.
He'll be giving Chris grief about that after. You're kidding me, man. The ball hard.
There's strike one to Brett. 291, 4 homers, 22 runs batted in for Wallace, and a big opportunity here. He was 1 for 5 with an RBI in the Texas series. And Barman's on deck. I will have an interview with Chris and Ron Johnson on the pregame show on Sunday at 12:30. Had a nice chat with them around the batting cage today. Big family reunion this weekend. Red Sox got in last night during the Astros game, and Ron said he had a chance to see about the last 4 innings of the game. We saw Josh Hamilton's excellent catch robbing CJ in the 7th inning on a line drive to left. No balls, 2 strikes to Wallace. Red Sox are 2.5 games out behind the Yankees in the AL East. Ground ball. And there's Pedroia tossing to Scudero. And it's 1 run, 3 hits, 2 men left for the Astros. It's tied 1-1 after 1.
For our AT&T trivia question of the night. Question's pretty simple. What 3 former Houston team members have managed the Boston Red Sox?
Very good.
Jimmy Williams.
Well, that's right. 2 of them played, 1 of them didn't, and that's 1.
Oh, okay.
But he was a team member.
All right.
The other 2 played.
J.D. Drew leads it off in the 2nd inning. Drew takes it, and it is strike 1. He was booed severely by the Phillies fans in the previous series. He'd been drafted in the 1st round by Philadelphia, but did not sign. They've never forgotten it. Line drive left. Carlos Lee over. 1 down.
Here's clue number 1. Clue number 1 is one of the 2 was manager only for half a season, roughly half a season.
Okay.
Wow.
The other one managed 4 years.
Jared Saltalamacchia, former Texas Ranger, comes up. 26-year-old switch hitting catcher, 253, 5 homers. He's driven in 20.
Grady Little never played for the Astros, did he?
No.
Nope.
Let me give you another clue. One of them that was a part-time half-a-season manager was once a batting champion.
Ooh. 1 ball, 1
And
strike.
from the state of Texas.
Ground ball goes foul for Brett Wallace. It's a 1 ball, 2 strike count.
And was also pre-Astro.
Eddie Costco ever play for the Astros?
That is one of them. He played for the Astros a couple of years. 64 and 65. Managed Boston from 70 to 73. So you got 2 out of 3. The part-time one is the one that is missing. The one that was a Colt 45 and one-time batting champion.
Pete Runnels never managed Boston, did he? Wow.
He did for
Didn't
half a
know
season.
that. Did not know he managed that club.
He managed the Red Sox for part of 66. Here is the official AT&T trivia answer. Eddie Casco, Jimmy Williams, and Pete Runnels all guided the Red Sox one time or another.
Good question. 1 and 2 to Saltalamacchia, who was traded last year from Texas to Boston. Jason Varitek had a big day as the Red Sox catcher yesterday with a pair of home runs. It's 2 and 2 to Saltalamacchia. Josh Reddick on deck. Bud Norris facing the Red Sox for the first time in his career. He's had 2 interleague starts. Both have been against Tampa Bay in his career. Grounder and knocked down. Wallace kicks it, but retrieves and throws to Norris. 2 outs.
No need to panic down there. Sharply hit ball to a corner. Usually have time, and certainly so at first base. Knock it down, gobble it up, and it won't be a problem.
Now Carlos Corporon and Bud Norris talk it over. Josh Reddick is the batter. He has some gaudy numbers: a .444 batting average, 1 homer, 9 runs batted in, .476 on base average, .722 slugging for Josh Reddick. One reason the lineup. There's strike one. He's been playing left field, but with the scratch of the center fielder Ellsbury, he moved over to play center tonight. Carl Crawford probably will not return this weekend from his hamstring injury. We've been told he's eligible to come off the disabled list on Sunday. Reddick's had 36 at bats. Now back, and it's 0-2. Josh, 24 years old, from Savannah, Georgia. He went to Middle Georgia College. The Red Sox drafted him in the 17th round in 06. He had 62 major league at bats with them last year.
Pretty good power numbers throughout his minor league career. He's got a little bit of an uppercut swing. Pretty good fastball hitter. But Norris has got better than a pretty good fastball.
That's true. Reddick now has started at all 3 outfield positions with this first start in center for him. 2-2. Red Sox are second in the American League in runs scored. As JD mentioned, they rank very high in many offensive categories, including total bases, number 1. Fouled, and it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count still.
They hit a lot of home runs, hit a lot of doubles. Hanging them off that green monster there at Fenway. Off the monster.
Well, this ballpark probably feels like a real similar ballpark to Fenway for a lot of these players. With a short portion left. And Crawford boxes there, but the wall is not nearly as high, of course. Line shot goes foul. Red Sox were here at the very end of spring training for an exhibition game, and Josh Beckett pitched very well in that game against the Astros. He'll be up Sunday. Tomorrow night at 6:05, it's Jay Happ and Andrew Miller in a matchup of lefties. Full count now to Reddick. Drew Sutton's on deck. Reddick was just called up, and this is his second stint this year with Boston. Came up a couple of weeks ago from AAA. He's on with a 2-out walk. First walk for Norris. Bud began the night 7th in strikeouts in the National League with 100. Miller and Happ, 5:30 airtime on FS Houston tomorrow for Astros Live. Beckett and Lyles, 12:30 airtime on FS Houston Sunday. That's the finale of this homestand.
Bud's walk rate probably a little bit higher than you would like, but you can live with it with all the strikeouts he gets.
Drew Sutton takes a look at ball 1. He came from the Astros organization. He was drafted in 04 in the 15th round by Houston. Traded to Cincinnati for Jeff Keppinger in 09. And he moved along to Cleveland. Boston signed him last November as a free agent. Drew's from El Dorado, Arkansas. Went to Baylor. And previously Texarkana Junior College. He hit a pinch hit grand slam against the Astros. Fly ball to right field. Caught by Pence. No runs, no hits. 1 man left. It's 1-1 in the second.
courtesy of Dayhill. Buy tickets at Astros.com. And guys, I've got to say, that one with that mouth wide open is pretty darn cute.
Yes, it is. Gotta have one. 1-1 game. Tim Wakefield throws, and it's up and in. Ball one to Clint Barmas. 237, 3 homers, 13 runs batted in. He has 14 doubles. And he's really been hitting the ball well. 8 for 18 on this homestand. He went 6 for 11 in the Rangers series. He said he's changed the position of his hands a little bit and liking the results so far.
Get a fastball here. A little two-seamer at 71 miles an hour.
So that gives Clint a little something to build off. Of course, a knuckleball pitcher can mess up a lot of things with a hitter's timing. So just when you think you might have it going, you run into a guy like this, JD.
Yeah, well, it's such a unique. I can't think of anything else in sports where it's the same job that a lot of other guys do, but the skill set is so different.
Out to left field. And into left center. This one kicks back, and it's another double for Barmas. 15 doubles for Barmas. And they have been jumping off his bat on this homestand.
He saw it high, and he let it fly.
Sure did.
That's it. That's, they have all those books, those dummies books, Car Mechanic for Dummies or whatever for dummies.
Yeah.
If the hitting the knuckleball for dummies, it would just be like a one-page pamphlet. Ball's up high, go ahead and swing at it. If it's down low, take it. Other than that, you're on your own.
Well, Carlos Corporon takes it. That's 5 doubles on this homestand for Barmas. This is game number 6.
Our own resident knuckleballer, Steve Sparks, he said when he was throwing it, he didn't like it when the hitters would crowd the plate. Kind of took him out of his game a little bit.
It's 2-0. Corporon crowds the plate with that left foot, and then he closes up by the time the ball arrives, but that's not what Wakefield is looking at when he releases. 73 for a high, 64 for a low.
Yeah, and when he throws his fastball, that's all it's going to be too. It's not like R.A. Dickey every now and then will slip an 85-mile-an-hour heater in there. But for Tim, it's going to be 72, 73 miles an hour.
One hopper, he's got to play at third on Barmas. Youkilis faking a throw. Now he gets it to Pedroia. Pedroia looks over his shoulder at the runner at first, and the catcher, Saltalamacchia, comes over to execute the rundown and make that tag. 1-5-4-2.
Astros have lost some base runners on this homestand with errors in judgment, and here's another one. Barmas reacting a little too quickly. And Wakefield's a good athlete. Talk about him starting his career as a position player. He really fields the position well.
Athletic play and a quick release to third. Saltalamacchia came all the way down. Wakefield would not have to make that tag. Bud Norris conferred with Dave Clark before stepping into the box. He has 6 sacrifice bunts.
Work on those rundowns in spring training, and that's usually one of the things they do, just run the pitcher off the play.
You think it would be easier to bunt a knuckleball than to hit it?
Probably.
Bud's the staff leader in sacrifice bunts.
If you're really not trying to strike at it, you're just trying to catch it with the end of your bat.
Mm-hmm. That one's wide.
Not that it's easy, but easier than trying to hit it.
Michael Bourne's on deck. Red Sox have the best interleague record in the majors since 05. Wanted out toward Wakefield, but he's called off by Gonzalez. Throws low, and Pedroia makes that catch. 2 outs. Corporon to second base. Michael Bourne gets the RBI opportunity. He was visiting with Carl Crawford before the game. They were, of course, Little League teammates in Houston. Michael with the single, a steal, scoring the run on a Hunter Pence sac fly, tied the game 1-1 in the first. Wakefield was not in the Boston starting rotation when the season opened. As JD mentioned, he was pitching in relief. He's had 9 starts and 9 relief appearances prior to this game tonight. Strike one. But he's a handy guy to have who can be inserted at any time into the rotation. It's not like you have to build him up, to 100 pitches because he hasn't started for 3 weeks or something like that. No balls, 2 strikes.
You could start tonight, and if you got into an extra inning game on Sunday and you needed somebody for 2-3 innings, he'd be your guy.
True. His first start did not come until May 1st. That's a liner to center field. Corporon comes to third. Stop sign from Dave Clark. The throw is cut off by Gonzalez. It was a good throw from Reddick. And Bourne is 2 for 2.
He's going to be hitting 300 here pretty soon. Boy, he's been swinging it. Continues to hang out line drives all over the field. This one hit too sharply. Corporon not able to come around and score.
Story about Dave Clark the other night on a ball hit into the corner. He put a stop sign up for Clint Barmas. There was some boos. He said, well, he doesn't take it personally, but on that particular play, went back, looked at the videotape, and the ball was being fielded cleanly by the right fielder before Barmas hit third base. So he said, I don't second guess myself on that call. Now Angel Sanchez, who grounded a shortstop, comes up for the second time. Hunter Pence on deck. 5 hits for Houston. Bunted, and that's a beauty. No throw, and the Astros grab a 2-1 lead on the bunt RBI single by Sanchez. And he directed that too far in front of Youkilis and too far to the right of Wakefield for the Red Sox to get him out.
Well, with Youkilis out of the lineup yesterday with that bad ankle, not a bad idea to try to exploit that. You see Youkilis not moving particularly well. I mean, this is a bunt for a base hit with a man on third base. You would expect a third baseman to come in with much more of a sense of urgency on a ball like that, but I think it's because of the bad ankle.
Corporon scores. 2-1. Sanchez gets RBI number 21. Bourne to second, and Hunter Pence. Ground ball by diving Youkilis into the left field corner. That'll score. Bourne, and the Astros will grab the lead. The fan reached over. Now the umpires are going to place the base runners on fan interference. But the Astros are going to get that run. Run number 3 is scored by Bourne, and Pence has the RBI double. That's his 55th run batted in, number 2 of the night. The fan reached over and interfered. Now it's up to the umpires to decide where the runners should be placed. Flanked it on the wrist.
Yeah, make the play. And 9 out of 10 times there, the ruling is just 2 bases. So that ball goes all the way into the corner if this fan doesn't put his mitt on it or his wrist on it. And you don't know what kind of bounce it would have taken out there. They might have been able to score one more on the play.
True. Might have. Sanchez at third, Pence at second base, and it's Carlos Lee. Line to single to left, and that fan not only is escorted out, he didn't get the baseball.
Oh, walk of shame.
Big cut, and it's strike 1. 3 straight hits, 7 in the game for the Astros.
Look at that, Pence driving in Bourne again.
An amazing combination. Kind of reminiscent of Bagwell driving in Biggio all those times. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He's got to jog a lot more than Michael has.
True. Fly ball. Sutton comes over. Now turns it on a little bit. The shortstop giving away Scudero. And that's out number 3. But the Astros grab the lead with 2 second-inning runs on 4 hits. They leave a couple 3-1.
Free all summer, presented by Minute Maid, is available for every home game this summer. For every full price adult ticket you purchase in the outfielder view deck sections, you can get up to 2 free tickets for kids 14 and under. Visit Astros.com for details. A great deal for families and especially those kids.
Great to see them out this weekend. Should be a wonderful weekend for the fans. 3-1 ball game. The Astros breaking the tie with 2 there in the second inning. Now it is the pitcher, Tim Wakefield, leading it off here in the 3rd inning. 0 for 2 this season. 119 in his career. 1 homer that came at the Astrodome off Mark Portugal many years ago. And there is ball 1. July of '93. That's the last time he faced the Astros, some 18 years ago. Javier Vazquez has pitched in 44 Major League stadiums, 43 for Livan Hernandez. This is number 40 tonight for Wakefield.
It's almost as many as Milo.
How many does he have?
143.
That's right there, isn't it?
Oh, my.
Apparently not. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It is right there. That's the definition of a strike.
Question is, what is right there? We thought he caught it, and it's fouled back by Wakefield. We'll go back and revisit that.
Yeah, right there. Number 4 was the one in question. Last thought it was down. Looked like a pretty good pitch.
And that one worked for strikeout number 3. Red Sox are 7-8 against the National League clubs this year. They ran into good pitching in both Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, and are 2-4 on this road trip. Marco Scudero, who led off the game with a homer, moves around for the 2nd time now. And it's ball 1 from Norris.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of run on that 2-seam fastball, and what happens a lot of times is his front shoulder will fly open towards first base, and that creates that extra movement. And, you know, it's fine if you're trying to do that. So you're trying to run one off the plate to a left-handed hitter, but if you're trying to throw strikes, you need to keep that front shoulder closed a little bit.
2-1. Red Sox got off to that very tough start. Kevin and Art were talking about that on the pregame show. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Red Sox Nation was all whipped up into a frenzy.
Absolutely. But then they were able to right the ship in a hurry. They were 0-6. They got swept at Texas and swept at Cleveland. Came back and beat the Yankees in their first home game. Scudero's caught looking. Strikeout number 4.
First 3 were swinging. This time Bud clips that outside corner with the slider. Borderline pitch. This time Laz Diaz rings it up.
Now Dustin Pedroia bats. Pedroia looking at ball 1. Very interesting player.
I love the interplay between he and Francona. And a lot of times it's in the papers. Pedroia will pop off and then Francona will get all over him.
Well, it happened again yesterday. Yeah. Pedroia hit a home run. He was hitting cleanup. He's 14 for 25 as a cleanup man. 3 homers and 8 runs batted in. And he belted one yesterday and said something about, well, go ask the manager. And they asked him about that in cleanup. So, of course, the obliging media did ask Terry Francona. And he said, well, Dustin is small in stature. And then he went on.
Yeah, but large in his opinion of himself.
Right, large in his opinion of himself.
It's all in good fun.
That's great.
Just get after each other. This guy among an elite few, Pedroia, who's won a Rookie of the Year, an MVP, a Gold Glove, and a World Series ring. He was the MVP in 2008.
Drove in 83 runs that year, scored 118.
Now, you can debate whether he was deserving of that award or not, but the bottom line is he won it.
At 326. That's the second walk for Norris. Pedroia is 15 for 17 in stolen bases. Pedroia, an Arizona Stater. So he and Brett Wallace may know each other from their backgrounds. Adrian Gonzalez struck out in the first inning. And you have the University of Arizona contingent represented by Brad Mills and Terry Francona.
They won a College World Series at U of A.
Brad had a lot of great things to say, of course, about Terry and vice versa before the game today with the media sessions they had.
They played together on one of the great minor league teams of all time, the Denver Bears. 81, 82, somewhere in there. 90-something and 44. Tim Raines, Tim Wallach, and it was loaded.
The Montreal system, very fertile at that time.
Right. Bill Gullickson, Bob James were on the pitching staff.
Wow. Team photo, 1979 Wildcats. Brad Mills, Terry Francona. They were roommates. Of course, Brad, the bench coach for those 2 World Series teams, the Red Sox, for Tito. So the roots are deep. No balls, 2 strikes. But right now, competing. And that's the message that Ron Johnson gave us on the interview with Chris today. Now this is about winning now. Spring training was fun. Foul, and that's out of play.
So far, Adrian Gonzalez has really been tied up by Bud Norris. First at bat, it was a feeble swing at a changeup and an equally bad hack at a slider. So now he's a little bit behind the fastball. Of course, pretty darn good at making adjustments. You don't hit 352 without that ability.
True. Strike 3. 12th pitch for Bud Norris. Strikeout number 5. He's gotten Gonzalez both times. Astros lead it 3-1.
By Whataburger, by Chevy, by the motion picture Zookeeper, and by AT&T. Bottom of the third, Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies.
Thanks, Craig. And the Astros with Chris Johnson at the plate taking strike one, lead it 3-1. He looped a single near the right field line in the first inning. That one goes foul, and it's no balls, 2 strikes for Tim Wakefield. Daisuke Matsuzaka started the 5th game this year for Boston. He's out for the season. Tommy John surgery. Wakefield stepped in and is making start number 10 of the year tonight. Little roller is fair. Saltalamacchia makes a good play. 1 out. John Lester got his 10th win of the season yesterday at Philadelphia. Brett Wallace bounced into a force play in the first inning as the Astros left a couple of men on. They also stranded 2 in the second. Strike to Wallace.
Wakefield has been much better against left-handed hitters than righties. Left-handed bats hitting just $183 against them. Right-handed hitters $258. Overall, it's $228 the batting average against.
One and two to Wallace.
Typically, with a knuckleballer on the mound, if you're patient, you can work some walks. Astros generally are not a very patient club. It's interesting because they were talking about how liberating it must be for a knuckleball pitcher, because you don't have a whole lot of thinking to do in terms of trying to set up hitters. Especially a guy who leans as heavily on the knuckleball as Tim Wakefield does. But the same thing applies to the hitters. I mean, they just know they're going to see one knuckleball after another. It's not like they have to try to guess with the pitcher.
Still 1 and 2. Well, you talked about the differences between R.A. Dickey and Wakefield. The Astros, despite the fact that they are quite different, handled Dickey well this year. They handed him 2 losses this season, one in New York, one in here. In that second game, they scored 6 runs on 11 hits in 5 1/3 innings off Dickey. 2 and 2. Wallace fouls it. Interleague play, it's very close between the 2 leagues. Coming into today, the American League had won 107, the National League 103 this year. Grounded, and there's a diving play by Gonzalez. Well done as he gets it to Wakefield for out number 2.
Well, there was some speculation that perhaps Big Papi would be playing first and Gonzalez would be in the outfield. Gonzalez is a tremendous defensive player. So even though he's 0 for 2 at the plate with a couple of punch outs, he made a heck of a play there and saved his pitcher a knock.
Sure did. Gonzalez played the one game in right field in interleague play. Clint Barmas doubled to left center in the second inning. He said he's moved his hands a little bit further away from his body than they were, and that's a change that he was trying to make in spring training, but it just didn't take. 2 hopper to third. Youkilis takes care of the third out. Wakefield rolls through the third inning. The Astros lead at 3-1. Youkilis, Drew, and Saltalamacchia due up for Terry Francona's club. Kevin Youkilis struck out in the first inning on a 3-2 count. Bud Norris has whiffed 5 so far through the first 3. Carl Crawford is joined on the disabled list by Chad Lowry right now. Youkilis, though, has been a steady producer. 55 runs batted in this season and 21 doubles. Ball 1, kind of old home week. Good to see guys like Tim Bogar coaching third for the Astros. Used to be their shortstop. And Wheeler is here. Matt Albers, both of those guys in the Red Sox bullpen tonight. Got Carl Crawford with that hamstring on the shelf. Clay Buchholz is from Nederland, Texas. He's out with a back injury. And Red Sox really regard him very, very highly. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Youkilis had right thumb surgery last year. That limited him to 362 at bats. Norris got him on strike.
He's kind of going on tonight, boy.
6 strikeouts.
You knew he'd be jacked up for this start.
J.D. Drew's the batter. J.D. now 35 years old. He lined to left first time up. There's strike 1 to J.D. Really a subpar start for him. Batting average in the 230s. Just 4 homers and 18 runs batted in. He has a black eye right now. He was taking batting practice, working on his bunting, and the ball jumped up off his bat and hit him in the eye. But he's got that mouse underneath his left eye, as you can see.
They pitch around him, makes him look tougher. Wouldn't want any part of him.
2 balls and a strike. Theo Epstein, the fine general manager of the Red Sox, is looking for help in right field. Drew far from those career numbers.
Drew was such a ballyhooed prospect when he first came into the game. It was almost like it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to have a Hall of Fame career. So, for a lot of folks, he's been an underachiever, but probably not fair. I mean, he's had a nice career, very gifted player.
Yep.
Boy, when he runs into one, he can hit it a long, long way.
5-tool athlete. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Drew went to St. Louis, Atlanta, Los Angeles. Came to Boston in 07 on a 5-year deal. This is year number 5. And he strikes out. That's 7 for Bud Norris.
He's got it all going. He's getting the right-handers with that fastball slider combination. The lefties, he's mixing in the changeup. He threw Drew 2 dandy off-speed pitches in this sequence, including this one right here to finish him off. And boy, the hitters. It's a tough task when a guy's commanding a 95-mile-an-hour fastball and you can throw that changeup in there.
Saltalamacchia grounded out. Wallace to Norris covering first time up. That one foul. There's strike 1 to Jarrett. He was picked in 03 after the first round, the 36th player drafted that year from West Palm Beach, Florida. He's had a couple of surgeries the last 2 years. No balls, 2 strikes. Jason Varitek has been the catcher for so long in Boston. He's the established mainstay. Last year, Varitek broke his foot, and he only had 112 at bats. He's now 39. Right, Krieg struck out the side. 8 Ks through 4 innings for Bud Norris, and a 3-1 lead for Houston. Begins with Carlos Corporan, the catcher. He hit that grounder back to Wakefield and then reached as Farmas was thrown out during a rundown. Corporan came around to score as the Astros took the lead with 2 in the second inning after scoring on a Pence sacrifice fly in the first. Strike one for Tim Wakefield, who had a 1-2-3 third. 3 ground balls. Pittsburgh and Washington are tied 1-1. It's the bottom of the 7th in Washington. Shortstop Scudero. 1 out for Wakefield. And Bud Norris, who struck out the side in the top of the inning, will be the batter.
Bud gave up that leadoff home run to start the ball game, and since then he's shut the Red Sox down. 8 punch-outs. His career high is 14. He did that last year against the Pirates. Notice Saltalamacchia, the catcher, he's not moving behind home plate. It's not like you set up on the corner for a knuckleballer. Job primarily just to corral that baby.
Strike makes him 1-1.
Bob Uecker's technique was to let it hit the backstop and then pick it up.
That shows you that late movement, how tough it is to catch it. 2 balls and a strike. Roger Bernardina hit his 5th home run tonight for Washington. High ball left. Sutton handles it. 2 outs. This is Knight on the mound.
Bud's been partying all right. Just chewing up Adrian Gonzalez, the best hitter in the American League. Made him look silly so far. Slider's been devastating. Throwing 95 miles an hour with the fastball. The lefties have seen some good changeups. Just a little cheddar on the knees for good measure.
Ball into Michael Bourne. Pulled his left foot out of the way. That pitch dipped sharply down and in. 1 hit, 1 run allowed through 4. And 8 strikeouts for Bud. He struck out the last 4 he's faced. Red Sox did not make contact on a ball in play in the 3rd and 4th innings. He's been a big part of it offensively, scoring twice. His fly ball heads for left. Sutton puts it away. And that's 7 straight outs for Wakefield. 3-1 Houston through 4.
To our progressive fans of the game, it's Brent and Carmen, and they drive all the way down here from Dallas. They are big Astro fans, and we need to know why you do that and how often you do it, Brent.
We lived here for 9 years before we moved to Dallas, and we're always going to be Astros fans.
All right, Carmen, what do you think of the amount of Red Sox fans here? Are you guys keeping them all in line?
Oh, well, yeah, we got to keep them in line. We're going to kick their ass this weekend.
Oh, I don't think we were supposed to say that. Okay, Carmen can't talk anymore. Back to Brent. Brent, I know it's a long trip down here. Do you guys still have family here, or you come here specifically for this team?
Pretty much for the game here, and stay at the inn, and all the folks that take good care of us there. But we love the Astros.
Nothing like the Minute Maid Park experience.
That's right.
All right. Well, you guys, regardless of some of the little faux pas that come out of their mouths, are our progressive fans of the game. You deserve it for the drive. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
All right, Bill.
Thanks, Patty. Great fans. Ball 1 to Reddick. Reddick for a 2-out walk in the second inning. Got to be enjoying the way this evening is going.
And Patty and Bart, they've talked to a few people like that over the years who just about every home weekend journey from somewhere, whether it's jumping on an airplane or a 3 or 4 hour car ride to come down and catch a weekend of baseball.
Some kind of loyalty.
I'll tell you one thing, Laz Diaz has been consistent. That low fastball that we think is a strike, and our Fox Tracks thinks it's a strike, but he has consistently said ball, so it's just not going to be there.
Carlos Lee comes in and left to retire Reddick, 1 out. And pitchers will tell you, hitters will tell you, that's okay. As long as it's consistent, we can adjust to that.
To a point.
That's what they tell the media, right?
Yeah. Because that knee-high fastball, that's when, since you're a little kid, that's the one you've been trying to throw. That's when they tell you. Hey, pound that strike zone down around the knees. You'll get rewarded.
Drew Sutton looks at that one. It's ball 1. He hit a fly ball to right first time up. Phillies may have found their new closer. Antonio Bastardo got save number 4. 2 balls, no strikes.
Beat the Jays 7-6 tonight, spoiling Canada Day for the Blue Jay fans.
That's right. It's a swing. 2-1. Laz Diaz calling it on Drew Sutton. Eric Thames hit his second homer. Jose Bautista, number 25. He's moved to third base now. Blue Jays were not getting much production out of that position. Now it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. He marked the share up. Share that lead with 25 bombs already this year. On pace to hit roughly 50. It's been really odd to follow. Well, those 2 hitters, Adrian Gonzalez. And you've got several others around baseball who are just up there in the clouds with their numbers this year. But overall scoring is way down. 3-2.
Yeah, it's been trending down the last couple of seasons. There's always going to be those that play far above the norm.
Sutton draws a walk. That's number 3. And it brings up Wakefield. Looks down at Tim Bogard for instructions. Doug Brocail has watched a very good start from Bud Norris. David Ortiz, Big Papi, is on the bench. The DH, of course, not in use in the National League Park, but the Red Sox DHs, mostly Big Papi, have hit .310. Wakefield takes, and there's strike 1. With 17 homers, 49 runs batted in to this point. This is game number 81 of the season for the Red Sox. That is a big bat to take out of the lineup. He missed it. 0-2 to Wakefield. And the pitchers in the American League quite often talk about they love this part of interleague play. They get to hit.
Yeah. Well, those Rays guys had some fun here.
They sure did.
A couple guys got their first major league hit. C.J. Wilson of the Rangers hit a triple. I don't think Wakefield's having a lot of fun right now.
He just struck out. That's number 9. We go to Greg Lucas.
Let's take a look at this date in Astros history. This moment in history brought to you by the MD Anderson Cancer Center, making cancer history. On this date in 1997, Tim Bogart, now the third base coach for the Red Sox, bounced one down the first base line, came to rest under a bullpen bench, inside the park home run because Manny Ramirez didn't know the rule. We're going to get to see that one, I think, a little bit later on.
Oh, good. Yeah, that was a memorable one. Now Scudero, the batter. Ground ball to short. Barmas with the shovel over to Sanchez. No runs, no hits, and a man left. The Red Sox have 1 hit through 5. That was a leadoff homer by Scudero, and it's 3-1 Houston. Completed. Angel Sanchez, as the center fielder, is positioning himself for the Red Sox. Reddick steps out. Now he's ready to go. He has an RBI single in 2 trips. Ground ball foul, strike 1. Tim Wakefield has retired 7 in a row after the RBI double by Hunter Pence in the 2nd inning.
Angel's base hit a bunt single towards the third baseman, and now Euclid looking for the dugout for instructions.
And rolls into right field. Sanchez with that opposite field approach, and that usually works very well against a guy like Wakefield. Greg?
Let's take it our flashback. This is that inside the park home run. That was Albi Lopez, and this is what happened. This was against Cleveland. It is the only interleague inside the park home run the Astros have hit. And as you saw, Manning said, "But that's under. I can't." It was still in play, and he went all the way around to score. The Astros have hit 4 since, but none in interleague play. They do have one they gave up in interleague play. Willie Bloomquist of Seattle against Wandy back in 07.
Little known fact about that play. You saw in that video that Alan Ashby was the bullpen coach at the time down there. And if we had super sensitive microphones, you would have been able to pick up Ash telling Manny, "Dead ball, Manny, dead ball. Don't worry about it. It's dead."
Interesting. The gamesmanship coming from Ash. And Ash would do anything to win, including lie about ground rules.
That can be Ash. If that were true, Ash would have felt so. He would have been mortified.
Yeah, that's true.
Wouldn't have slept for weeks.
He's a very honest man. 1 strike to Hunter Pence, and this one gets by. Sanchez to second base. This is one of the dilemmas of a knuckleball pitcher.
Yeah, because it's the late movement that creates the problem. You know, if catcher can track the ball and he can see early out of the hand that it's going to be off the plate like that, he can start to move, but it's the late movement. If your feet aren't quick enough, you've got no chance to block it.
Fly ball to left field for Sutton. One out. The wild pitch was number 8 of the year for Wakefield.
You know what today's also the anniversary of?
No.
Today's the anniversary of the first legal commercial ever aired on television.
First legal commercial?
Yep. July 1st, 1941. It was before a Brooklyn Dodger Philadelphia Philly game. America runs on Bulova time. It was for Bulova watches. The 10-second voiceover. It cost $9.
Ooh. Carlos Lee's 1 for 2. How's it back? $9.
$9 the airtime. That 10-second voiceover. What's a Super Bowl ad cost now?
Oh, who knows?
A couple million?
Millions, yeah. Carlos Lee has 5 straight games with a run batted in interleague play. And that one's blocked. 1-1. Alan Ashby, of course, used to catch Joe Niekro, as many people know. How many broken fingers does he attribute to that experience?
Well, yeah, his fingers are a gnarled mess. And you think about, I don't know if there's been a catcher in the history of the game that's had a tougher assignment throughout his career than Ash. Having to catch Nolan and JR, Scotty, and then Nutsy.
Line shot left field corner. Sanchez comes around to make it 4-1. Lee heads for second base. RBI double. Runs batted in 6 straight interleague games for El Caballo. His 21st double of the year, giving him 45 runs batted in.
Always the dilemma for a manager who's managing a knuckleball pitcher. It's not like a conventional pitcher where you see signs that he's fatiguing or that he's lost it. He could get lit up, or he's just as likely to retire the next 10 many faces.
Third double for the Astros tonight. Chris Johnson single to right in the first. Did a little tap and the catcher threw him out in the third. Strike 1 to CJ. It's 9 hits for the Astros. Giants lead the Tigers 1-0 after 7 at Comerica Park. Little roller brings Wakefield over. 2 outs. Lee taking third base on the play.
CJ, he's been kind of the poster boy tonight for frustration facing a knuckleballer. Although he did get the base hit first time, that was a little blooper off the end of the bat, and then one little nubber handled by the catcher, and this one back to Wakefield.
Dan Wheeler's warming up in the Boston bullpen. Wallace is 0 for 2. Strike to Brett. Madison Bumgarner has a shutout going tonight for San Francisco. 1-0 after 7 at Detroit. Brad Penny out of the game after 7 very good innings. Foul back, and it's an 0-2 count.
What's Penny doing, Brownie? Is he having a pretty good year?
I think so, JD. Not too well briefed on his season, but he's had some good games and some pretty rotten ones. So the numbers, ERA might not look too good. Oh, 4.66, Boots says. That's not too good. Line drive. Scudero got it on its way to left center field and took a tumble. And the Astros settle for 1 run, 2 hits with a runner stranded at third on a sparkling play by Scudero. Houston leading it now 4-1 after 5. Pence with an RBI double at the second. His second run batted into the game. Fan reaches over and interferes. He gets a hop that takes it up into his wrist. And the Astros get a run home while Michael Bourne scores. Sanchez takes third. The Coors Light Freeze Can brought to you by the Frost Brewed Coors Light. That gentleman ushered out of Minute Maid Park. And he's missing a pretty good ball game right now. The Astros leading at 4-1. Moving to inning number 6. Pedroia, Gonzalez, and Youkilis against Bud Norris, who gave up a leadoff homer to Scutaro. That's the only hit he's allowed through 5. When Bud beat St. Louis here on June 8th, he gave up 1 hit and 1 run in 8 innings. A Lance Berkman homer. They won that one 4-1. Ball 1 to Pedroia. Pedroia has flied to right and he's walked.
Earlier I mentioned Pedroia has won a Rookie of the Year, an MVP, a Gold Glove, and a World Series, that he was among just a handful of guys that have done that. Check out the list. Willie Mays, Frank Robinson, Pete Rose, Johnny Bench, Thurman Munson, Cal Ripken Jr., and Albert Pujols.
Ooh. What a list. 2-1. And Pedroia has hit .357 in interleague play. That's the 3rd best all-time interleague average. He's a real spark plug for this Red Sox team. 3 balls and a strike. .305 career hitter coming into this season. He was a 2nd round pick in '04. Fouls it back and it's 3-2. A little guy with a big swing.
Yeah, but it's it's a big swing, but he doesn't chase a lot of bad balls. Nothing wrong with swinging hard if you're swinging at strikes.
He's walked more than he has struck out in his career. And he walks this time. Number 4 for Norris.
And the second time he's walked Pedroia, and that's a two-seamer again. When he flies open, just takes off on him. And he's looking down at his hand too. He's had blister problems in the past.
Pedroia aboard. Gonzalez the batter. He is swift both times. His batting average is the best by players who switch teams in the offseason. He came into this year a .284 lifetime hitter. Sanchez, Barmas, and Wallace. Double play.
Now, how does an 0 for 2, a 2 punch-out game get worse? You ground into a double play. Usually pretty good at shooting that ball the other way. He tried to pull it, rolled over on it.
Gonzalez retired. 18th time he's hit into a double play. That ties Torrey Hunter for the major league lead. And it's Youkilis who struck out twice. Ball 1 to Youkilis. Youkilis won the Gold Glove at first base in '07. Now moving back across the diamond to third with Adrian Gonzalez at first. 2 top-notch defensive corner men as well as offensive.
Yeah, they're good defensive club. One of the better teams, at least in terms of errors committed in Major League Baseball.
94 pitches for Norris. 59 have been strikes. He has struck out 9, walked 4. Terrific start so far. Make it another one. And that's number 10 for Bud Norris. 4-1 Astros in the 6th.
Astros baseball on Fox Sports Houston is brought to you by Gullo Automotive, by the Motion Picture Friends with Benefits, by Jack in the Box, and by Ford.
Tim Wakefield trailing 4-1 delivers, and there's ball one to Clint Barmas in the home sixth inning. He doubled in the second, grounded out in the third. Wakefield is third on the all-time Red Sox victory list. He comes in for a high strike call. It's 1-1. He's 183 with the Red Sox. Roger Clemens and Cy Young are tied with 192 for the top two spots. Line to left, Sutton back, over Sutton, off the wall, into second base. It's raining doubles for Clint Barmas on this homestand. That's 16 for him this season.
And Sutton initially broke in. I don't know if it would have made a difference. That ball was hit so well. And one hopping the wall on a line, so highly unlikely he would have been able to make a play on it. But his first couple of steps were in, and then he retreated back.
6 doubles in 5 games for Clint. That puts him in scoring position with nobody out for Carlos Corporan. That can be awfully important. Dan Wheeler's warming up. Corporan yanks it foul.
And Barmas saying, don't hit a comebacker to the mound. Pull the ball on the right side. Don't think about this one.
Yeah. Make it easy. Well, Corporan hit that comebacker in the second inning. He later scored, and then he grounded out in the fourth. No balls, 2 strikes. St. Louis 5, Tampa Bay 1. They've played 8 in St. Petersburg. Colby Rasmus hit his 9th home run. Jake Westbrook started, went 7 shutout innings. Wade Davis went 7, gave up 2 runs. Cardinals in Milwaukee in the dead heat.
Cardinals were beating Baltimore. The Brewers were being swept in Yankee Stadium.
That leaves them both at 44 and 38 coming into play today. Milwaukee and Minnesota still delayed. In Minnesota, 2-2. Prince Fielder got the first half of the season National League MVP award from Sports Weekly.
Did you get half a car for that? Half a trophy?
Probably not. Popped up. Pedroia out. 1 out.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I probably would have voted for Prince. There's a number of guys you could contemplate. You know, Berkman, what he's done, and Jose Reyes.
Yes. Reyes really is having a terrific year. Bud Norris comes up. He put down a sac bunt in the second inning and then hit a fly ball to left in the fourth. Yankees lead the Mets 3-1 at Citi Field. They've played 7.
Who was the first half Cy Young Award winner? Halladay?
I think it was Halladay, yeah. I believe it was Sabathia. Well, not sure about the American League. Foul back. No balls, 2 strikes. Last night, Wandy Rodriguez pitched to beauty. 7 innings, a 4-hit shutout ball. The Astros beat Texas 7-0.
Hey, if Veritek catches Wakefield,
yeah.
Is there an older batter in the history of the game, combined age and/or years of service?
I don't know. I was wondering that myself. Can't think of one. Norris takes, and it's 1-2.
Tim's 44 and Veritek's 39. You said?
Yes.
There's been a number of pitchers that have pitched, you know, in their mid-40s, a handful of them anyway. Too many catchers catch till they're 40.
No. Well, let's see, Tim Carver, but I can't remember him catching anybody 40 or older.
Boy, Wilhelm pitched till he was, what, 49?
Yeah. But you're right. That probably would be the oldest battery. Two balls, two strikes for Bud Norris. It's Jonathan Neese going for the Mets tonight. Ivan Nova started for the Yankees. A lot of stories here at the halfway point of the season about the Yankees. What are they going to do with their starting rotation? And the Red Sox are looking for a right fielder. That's no secret. Line shot left field. That's going to be 5-1 as Norris heads for second base. RBI single, scoring Barmes. Hit number 3 of the year for Bud Norris. That's his 4th run batted in.
He's doing it all, striking everybody out, driving in runs. Might be out there on the train shooting out fireworks after the ball game. Good swing of the bat.
He has provided the KO blow for Wakefield. Terry Francona takes the ball from Tim, and the bullpen comes in with the score 5-1 Houston here in the 6th.
With the Astros Summer Steel 6-game flex plan. You buy 5 games, get the 6th free. Plans available in multiple seating sections and start at only $35. Buy yours tonight at Astros.com. You know, guys, going into play tonight, the American League only had a 107-103 advantage in interleague play this last weekend. So there's still a good chance that the National League could take it this year. The Astros are doing their part right now.
A few years ago, it was pretty lopsided. The American League, a big winner. Dan Wheeler, the former Astro, at 0-1 with a 5.96 ERA. He's pitching for the first time since June 24th. He comes in with Bud Norris at first base, Michael Bourne in the box. 1 out, 1 run in. Bourne is 2 for 3 tonight. 2 runs scored for Michael. Wheeler delivers, and it's strike 1 for Dan.
Wheels joining the Red Sox this year after a pretty nice run with Tampa Bay. That's where he went after leaving Houston. It's fastball, slider, split finger, and occasional curveball from Wheeler.
It's no balls, 2 strikes. Last time out, Dan threw a perfect 8th inning with 2 strikeouts and a loss at Pittsburgh. He spent some time on the disabled list this year, coming off the DL on May 20th. He had a left calf strain. Dan's now 33. He's from Red Sox country, Providence, Rhode Island. 1-2 the count. Dan joined the Astros late in the 04 season. And in 05, he pitched 71 times. Big contributor to that bullpen of the Astros World Series team. Over shortstop, out into left center field, but caught on the run by Reddick. 2 outs. Phil Boudreau has found an older battery. JD. Wakefield and Veritek.
Who's he got?
Jamie Moyer, 42 years, 251 days. And Pat Borders, 42 years, 74 days, a combined age of 84 years plus. Wakefield and Veritek, 82 years plus.
Wow. When did Moyer and Borders get together?
We don't have the exact year. It was with the Blue Jays, but we don't know for sure. Angel Sanchez is 2 for 3. An RBI and a run scored for Angel.
It's a whole lot of knowledge,
isn't it, though?
34 combined years of battery mates.
Sanchez making the most of this start as Keppinger gets a second straight night with the bad stomach. Hunter Pence on deck. This one gets by Saltalamacchia. Norris moving to second base.
Anticipate problems with the knuckleballer out there, but with a conventional pitcher on the mound, a ball that Saltalamacchia should have been able to handle. Sort of a little late getting the glove down there on that slider.
Pass ball. It's his 7th pass ball. Ironically, none with Wakefield on the mound tonight, but he gets one right after Wheeler comes in. Pass balls usually go hand in hand with catching a knuckleballer.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times they get ruled wild pitches. Scores show a little leniency to the catcher because they realize how difficult that job is.
Yeah. Oh, that was with Seattle in 05 with Moyer and Borders. JD.
Okay.
Not Toronto, as I surmised. Pat Borders also played briefly for the Astros. That strike 3 call. Wheeler extinguishing the Astros 6th inning, but they pick up a run on 2 hits. Strandeman, their lead is now 5-1 after 6. Game is brought to you by United, proud to fly the Houston Astros. Since last June 23rd, Wandy Rodriguez's 2.44 ERA is the 3rd best starters ERA in all of baseball. Only King Felix Hernandez and Roy Halladay are better.
So there's going to be a lot of GMs that are looking to improve their rotation for the second half, calling Ed Wade saying, what about Wandy? You interested in moving Wandy? What'll it take?
2.44 since June 23rd, 2010. For this season now, with the 7 shutout innings last night, his ERA stands 2.97. And he is 6-4 on the ball club with a 29-53 record. But Norris goes to work in the 7th. It'll be Drew, Saltalamacchia, and Reddick due up. 1 hit, 1 run allowed, 4 walks, 10 strikeouts for Norris.
Action in the Astros pen as the pitch count starts to climb, but approaching 100 pitches. It's like Escalona warming up for the Astros.
Drew looked at ball 1. Sergio. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Into center field. Sharp single. That's the 2nd hit of the night. The leadoff homer by Scudero, the 1st.
Astros with a comfortable lead, but it can get very uncomfortable in a hurry. If the Red Sox get a little something going, and Terry Francona's got Big Papi over there on his bench ready to pinch hit. I'm sure that's why Escalona's up.
Saltalamacchia is grounded out, and he is struck out. Jared has 4 career homers against the Astros. Bobby Jenks warming up for the Red Sox in their bullpen. Strike 1 to Saltalamacchia. Red Sox are on a 9-game road trip. A good road club, 24-18, their record away from Fenway this season. Looping fly ball hit in front of Hunter Pence. He fires to second. Whoa! That was close on Drew. Hunter fired a strike to Barmas. Single for Saltalamacchia.
A scary play for a base runner. A line drive to right field like that. If you drift too far off first base, you're at risk of being doubled off if the ball's caught in the air. If you don't go far enough, you could be forced at second. You're going to get a good look here as Drew reads it, finally sees it down, and then off he goes. And just in ahead of that throw.
Now Doug Brocail comes out. Matt Albers is warming up in the Boston bullpen. Another former Astro, and they talk it over. Josh Reddick, the batter, he's walked and fly to left. 100 pitches for Norris.
First time tonight the Red Sox have put 2 runners on base in the same inning. Here comes with nobody out. The Red Sox fans here in the ballpark getting a little charged up. You can hear the "Let's Go Red Sox" chant.
Albers gets loose. Reddick was hitting for power at Pawtucket this year. Fouls it back for strike 1. He was 3rd in the International League in homers with 14. Also led in runs scored for that Pawtucket club with 37. Fouls that one out. It's no balls, 2 strikes.
International League much tougher too than the Pacific Coast League in terms of putting up numbers offensively.
Last triple play was in 04 at Philadelphia. Was that the one Morgan Ensberg started?
I'm going to go with yes.
Okay. He fielded a grounder, stepped on third, threw to second, and throw into first. It was Jeff Kent playing second and Mike Lamb playing first.
Showing a pretty keen eye right there on the no ball 2 strike offering.
It's 2-2 now. Sutton on deck. And the pitcher spot. Bud Norris, who won 9 and lost 10 last year, shooting for win number 5 this season. He Detroit got a run in the bottom of the 8th to tie the Giants 1-1 after 8. One of those foul. Nice to see a big crowd in here on a Friday night. 36,279 the paid attendance. It's Texas 7, Florida nothing after 5.5 at Arlington. Nelson Cruz at his 19th homer. Line drive over third, and that's fair. Going into foul territory. Scoring Drew to make it a 5-2 lead. Throw goes into third, and Reddick winds up at second. Reddick picks up RBI number 10.
A good at bat there after falling behind 0-2 and ultimately winning the battle by just punching this fastball that was well off the plate away and just poking it down the third baseline. Essentially blocked that ball.
Yeah. That's it for Bud Norris, who's given up 3 straight hits here in the 7th inning. It is 5-2 Astros. Back in a moment.
Common sense, innovation to the laptop. And by Sonic, it's new, it's better, it's the new Sonic Good.
Runners at second and third. Sergio Escalona's in the game. He's 1-0 with a 2.08 ERA. Drew Sutton, the switch hitter, turns around to bat right. Fouls it for strike one. With Darnell McDonald, a right-handed pinch hitter, on deck with a pitcher spot due up next. Sutton has flied to right and he's walked.
So this turns Sutton around to the right side where he's hitting just $154. He's only had 13 right-handed at bats this year for the Sox. He's hitting .379 as a left-handed batter coming into this one.
He looks at strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes for Escalona.
By bringing the lefty in, not only does it turn Sutton around, but it keeps Big Papi on the bench.
Lefties 179, righties 294 against Escalona. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Good crowd tonight, really into this game. Escalona pitched Sunday against Tampa Bay, 1/3 of an inning, no hits, no runs allowed. He had a strikeout. Soft pop, foul. Brett Wallace over, running out of room. Can't get to it. Still 1-2.
One of those balls where everybody in the Astros dugout is yelling, "Stay in here," and everybody in the Red Sox dugout, "Get out of here."
Barmas comes up with it. No, he blocks it. Now he throws, but not in time as the run scores. And it's 5-3 now. Ball hit hard right at him. It blocked it in front of him. And then scrambled to try to get Sutton, but Sutton beat the throw. And Saltalamacchia scored to make it 5-3.
Saltalamacchia hesitates. The ball hit on a line. He doesn't go initially and then breaks. Clint could not handle that cleanly. There was no play anywhere. Tough chance. Ball really well struck. He gets a base hit.
Yep. Ruled a single. Sutton gets his 7th run batted in. That's 4 hits in a row for the Red Sox, who have runners at first and second now for the pinch hitter Darnell McDonald, hitting 115. Now time called and Doug Brocail's coming out. They usually go over the hitter when a pinch hitter comes in the game. Tim Wakefield in 5 1/3 innings allowed 11 hits, 5 runs, no walks, no strikeouts, 1 wild pitch. He threw 91 pitches, 68 for strikes. Dan Wheeler, 2/3 of an inning, no hits, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout.
Obviously, American League clubs pinch hit far less than National League teams do. Red Sox have not been particularly proficient. They're 6 out of 37 in the pinch. McDonald is 0 for 1, just his 2nd pinch hit at bat here.
McDonald now is appearing in the 12th of the last 14 games for Boston. He started 7 of those. He had been on the disabled list, and since he came off the DL, he's gone 3 for 31. Nobody out there looking for a bunt, and it's a ball to him. Scudero on deck. This one hit him, and the bases are loaded for Scudero. 5 straight Red Sox.
Remember at the beginning of the inning when I said it can get uncomfortable in a hurry?
Yeah.
We got there.
It's there. And Brad Mills wants to make a move. Escalona gave up the hard hit ball by Sutton. Now he hits McDonald on the left heel. And the bases are loaded. Nobody out. 5-3 Houston back in a moment. Youth baseball leagues in your local community. If you'd like to learn more about Chevy youth baseball programs, go to youthsportswire.com. Wilton Lopez has come out of the Houston bullpen, and what a dilemma facing him. Bases loaded, nobody out. He's 1-4 with an ERA of 3.
Tremendous pressure, great opportunity, depending on your point of view. And a chance to be a hero, boy. If you can get a ground ball, get a double play, and help clean up this inning, that would be huge.
2 slams for Scudero in his career. Led off this game with a homer. He's 1 for 3. McDonald got the RBI on the hit batsman the tough way. And it's strike 1. Lopez worked 2 hitless innings in a Wednesday night 3-2 loss to Texas here. Came in with that 3-2 deficit for the Astros in the 8th inning. Didn't walk anybody. Fan 2. Needed 26 pitches for those 2 innings. Oh, almost got him, and it's 1-1.
One of the big challenges for relief pitchers is just not let the moment get the best of you. Come in and big crowd, a lot of energy in the ballpark, bases loaded. What they call a high leverage situation, but you can't overthrow trying to make the perfect pitch. Just trust your stuff, hit spots. It's really what separates, the average relievers from the really good ones. You think about a guy like Dennis Eckersley, who did not have overpowering stuff, but the ability to just absolutely paint, regardless of the situation. That's what made him so good.
Lopez had some good late movement in on the hands of Scudero on that last foul ball. Just missed.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That's a great try.
2-2, but we learned early that pitch is not a strike for Laz Diaz.
That's a perfect pitch.
Foxtrax liked it.
Do it again.
Now full count. Pedroia's on deck. This crowd is buzzing.
One hopper back to the mound would work.
Got him on strikes.
That works too.
1 out. After 5 straight reach base.
And that's the beauty of having that great movement. You can give in to the big part of the plate and still find success. Look at the action on that fastball.
Pedroia flied to right, and he walked twice. Pedroia looks at ball 1. He's the 7th Red Sox to bat here in the 7th inning.
Lopez's biggest fan right now, Bud Norris.
Yeah. That evens the count at 1-1 on Pedroia. White Sox beat the Cubs 6-4 at Wrigley. Two balls and a strike to Pedroia.
You would like to be able to come hard in or come in a little bit to open up that outside corner, but with the bases juice, you make a mistake in the inner half, you're asking for trouble. You're just going to live out there in that outside corner. That time Diaz did call it.
Pedroia thinks not, but it's 2-2. Ground serve up the right field line. That'll score Reddick, and here's Sutton to the plate. The throw to third. The game is tied 5-5. Two-run single by Pedroia, giving him 37 runs batted in. No win for Bud Norris.
No. It's a hang with him, no decision. This is just great hitting. He went back out there, down below the knees, off the outside corner. I mean, you can't make a better pitch in that situation. You know, some might argue, boy, but he threw one pitch after another down there. You got to change it up. But because Pedroia does have power, I don't think you could afford to make a mistake. And he had him lunging for that ball. Look at, he's barking at Diaz. Talk about playing with a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
He just delivered a two-run single, and he's still barking at the umpire.
Now Gonzalez, he's 0 for 3. Out of play, strike one. Bud Norris in 6 innings plus. He'll add 4 hits, 4 runs. Walking 4, fanning 10. Those numbers really do not tell the story of how well he threw the ball tonight.
No. Pretty dominant performance.
Fly ball, deep left center field. Gonzalez unloads. That'll get 2 runners home to make it 7-5. 2-run double by Gonzalez. 73 runs batted in for Adrian Gonzalez.
Just so much firepower. And Adrian Gonzalez, who was having a miserable night, 2 strikeouts, grounded into a double play, and then redemption comes with his double off the wall. Still just 1 out in the inning.
26 doubles for Gonzalez. Sergio Escalona, no innings pitched, 1 hit, 2 runs allowed. No walks, no strikeouts, 1 hit batter. Now Youkilis, the 9th batter in the inning. He struck out 3 times tonight. Six runs home here in the 7th. 1-1 for Lopez. Lopez had a rough outing Sunday against Tampa Bay, giving up 4 hits, 4 runs in 2 1/3 innings. He came in with a 7-5 lead in the 6th inning. He was tagged with a blown save and a loss. 1-2.
Well, you know, he punched out Scudero, and he just made, I thought, outstanding pitches throughout that at bat with Pedroia. He made the mistake there to Gonzalez, but other than that, he's really been throwing the ball well.
Drew's on deck. Probably that same ankle. Well, he's shaking the right foot. It was the left ankle he fouled the ball off the other day. It's a back foot this time. Hard to limp on both feet.
It's interesting with that shot right there, how low his hands were as he started that swing, considering where he starts. And his hands up over his head.
He drops it way down. Deep drive to right. Pence with the catch. Here's the tag at second. Gonzalez going to third. 2 outs. Now Drew, who started the inning with a single, comes around for the 2nd time here in the Red Sox 7th. Drew's 1 for 3 tonight. And the Red Sox came to bat. They had 1 run on 1 hit through 6. And they had struck out 10 times. Now Doug Brocail comes out. Mike Cameron was just designated for assignment by the Red Sox. He had played some right field. And the Red Sox had thought that coming into the season Cameron could help out. And with Drew in right, they could put it together that way. Lefty Fernando Abad's warming up for the Astros right now. But now they say they are shopping for an outfielder. Nick Markakis, during a 19-game hitting streak, has hit .417. Al Albuquerque, great numbers, but he just went on the disabled list. Clint Hurdle has the Pirates 2 games above 500, but people are wondering about the relievers in his bullpen. Will they hold up in the second half the way they've been used? Ichiro only 4 runs batted in June, and Phil Koch has been moved.
Flat Koch
to his bullpen. J.D. Drew looks at a pitch, and it's a strike. It's the second double-digit strikeout game for Bud Norris this year. Ground ball, Wallace. And it's a 6-run Boston 7. 10 men come to the plate. 6 of them get hits. It's now 7-5 Boston. Back to Carlos Lee. He's hit 2 homers in the last 2 games. This one coming off Matt Harrison, the lefty, for the Rangers yesterday in the 4th inning. It's number 7 of the year for El Caballo. Tonight he has 2 hits, including an RBI double, and the Astros would love to have more production here in the 7th inning. He'll be due up second. And pitcher number 3 is in the game now. And we have Darnell McDonald staying in to play left field after pinch hitting for Dan Wheeler. Wheeler now can be the winning pitcher with that big 6-run, 6-hit 7th inning for the Red Sox. They bring in Matt Albers. Matt with a 2-3 record, a 3.03 ERA.
Matt he came up with the Astros and moved along to Baltimore in the Tejada trade. Having a nice year for the Sox. And a good sinker slider.
Facing Hunter Pence, who's driven in a couple tonight. And he takes ball 1 from Albers. Local product. Came up with the Astros. Traded in the big 5-for-1 deal to Baltimore for Miguel Tejada. That's now 28 years old. It's 1-1. Born in Houston, went to San Jacinto Junior College. 23rd round pick of the Astros in 01. Boston signed him as a free agent last December. Pitched 62 times for the Orioles last year with a 4.52 ERA.
Astros hitters now face a progression that goes from the knuckleballing Wakefield, who probably didn't throw anything over 72 miles an hour, to conventional Wheeler, who's not an overpowering guy, but decent enough stuff. Now you got Albers, who got a plus fastball, and probably face Bard in the eighth, who can hit triple digits with his fastball.
That's strike three. Carlos Lee is 2 for 3 tonight with an RBI. Albers had gone a career-long stretch of 60 games with 77 innings without allowing a home run until he gave up one against Pittsburgh about a week ago to Garrett Jones. Chris Johnson's on deck. Strike one for Albers. He's been getting more and more of these late inning assignments with leads lately. 6 holds, all coming in his last 18 appearances. He's second on the club to Josh Bard in holds. Oh, and under the chin of Carlos, leans back from ball one. Meanwhile, we have double barreled warm up action. Alfredo Aceves, the right hander, Franklin Morales, the lefty, in the bullpen.
A couple of those, and you're less inclined to go out to cover the outside corner.
Absolutely. Ground ball short. Scudero to his left. 2 outs for Albers. Chris Johnson got a hit in the first inning. He's 1 for 3. Texas leads Florida 9-2. They're in the top of the 7th at Arlington. Colorado is blasting Kansas City 8-0 in the top of the 8th at Coors Field. Troy Tulowitzki hit number 16. And Mark Ellis, who just arrived with the Rockies, hit 1. Line shot into center field by CJ. He's 2 for 4.
Got that one on the barrel.
Yeah, he did. He's had a nice couple of weeks now.
Not overswing there, just nice quick path to the ball. Francona going to make a move.
Lefty hitting Wallace due up next. And he can go to Morales here for a lefty on lefty confrontation. We'll be right back with the score, 7-5 Boston.
July 3rd to Thursday, July 7th, you can vote for the 34th and final player for each league roster. Check in on Astros.com Sunday, July 3rd to see who made the team and vote for who should get the 34th and final spot on each league roster. Let us hope that we do not have to vote for Hunter, that he is already on the team. But just in case, check in.
Lefty Franklin Morales has come in from the bullpen, and he's pitcher number 4. In 4 games, he has no decisions with an ERA of 4 and a 4.15, and now he's come back from the disabled list as well. But that brings about a counter move by Brad Mills, and he will send up Jason Michaels, a right-handed hitter, to pitch hit for lefty hitting Brett Wallace.
Jason had a nice day yesterday. Hit a home run and a double, also lined out. His second home run of the year. Morales, fastball, slider, curve, and a split. Throws hard. 93, 94 miles an hour with that fastball. And Jason has found some success against the Southpaws this year.
Well, he finished the month of June well, as JD mentioned, a fine game yesterday. And he hit 283 with 2 homers and drove in 7 in June. Morales was on the DL with a left forearm strain. Rolled out to shortstop. Scudero takes it to second to Pedroia for the forced play on Johnson. No runs, a hit, and a man stranded after 7. It's 7-5 Red Sox. Into the top of the 8th inning. Jason Michaels stays in after pinch hitting for Brett Wallace. He's the left fielder. Carlos Lee has moved from left field to first base. And the new pitcher is number 4 of the night for Brad Mills, Fernando Abad. 1-4, a 5.89 ERA.
25-year-old lefty from La Romana in the Dominican Republic. Has worked 27 times at the big league level this year. 1-4 with a 5.89 ERA. Number 27 came in yesterday's ball game. He came in the 9th, worked a couple quick outs before handing off to Mark Melanson.
Five runs on 12 hits for the Astros. 7 runs on 7 hits for the Red Sox. Wilton Lopez in 1 inning gave up 2 hits, 1 run. Had no walks, 1 strikeout. Now Corporon talks it over. Abad getting set to face Saltalamacchia. Josh Bard's warming up for the Red Sox, and Ariel Del Rosario is warming up for Houston. Saltalamacchia is hitting .245 as a right-hander. Daniel Bard warming up. Did I say Josh Bard?
Josh Bard, yeah.
Daniel Bard.
Josh is the catcher. Used to be with these guys.
That's right. How quickly we forget. Ball 1 to Saltalamacchia. 2-0. Reddick is on deck. Foul back. That makes it 2-1. Red Sox exploded for 6 runs on 6 hits in the 7th inning. 5 straight batters reaching base until the Astros got their first out in the inning. That's 3 balls and a strike. Cleveland won at Cincinnati 8-2. Masterson won it. Arroyo was the loser. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Tribe got homers from Grady Sizemore as Drupal Cabrera hit his 14th. Carlos Santana, number 12. Brandon Phillips hit 2 for the losing Reds to give him 8. Drupal Cabrera's had about as good a first half as any Tribe shortstop in a long, long time. Saltalamacchia walks.
He's got to get the first half breakout player of the year award, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What he's done?
Sure does. Josh Reddick with a walk and an RBI double tonight. Here's the batter, Doug Brocail, hoping Abad can get him. David Ortiz comes out to the on-deck circle. Pitcher spot is due up next. Pitcher batting 8th for Francona right now. Reddick takes ball 1. Fouls that one away, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. The Astros will have Barnes, Corcoran, and the pitcher spot due up in the bottom of the 8th inning. 1-ball, 1-strike. Yankees won 5-1 at Citi Field over the Mets. So the Red Sox are trying to stay 2.5 behind front-running New York. Astros live coming up right after the game. That's out into left center field for a single. Reddick's 2nd consecutive hit in this game. Saltalamacchia to second base.
Reddick proving those last 2 at-bats you don't have to swing big to have success. Punching one to left last time, and a soft, shallow base hit to center field there with a nice easy swing, and now everybody all worked up with Big Papi getting this at bat.
Well, what a year he's having. With a .305 batting average, 17 homers, 48 runs batted in. 1 for 5 as a pinch hitter. That 1 hit was a homer. He has terrific numbers. He's in the last year of his contract and certainly making a strong bid for another one.
And a lot of folks that thought that David Ortiz was maybe on his way out. The way he finished 2009 and the way he started last year in 09, he hit just .238. And got off to a real miserable start last year before turning it on and putting up fairly typical numbers.
He looks at ball 1.
And you may be wondering, why is Terry Francona sending a left-handed bat up there with a lefty on the mound? Well, the only right-handed bat he has left is the kid Navarro, just called up from the minor leagues.
Well, he's not going to use Veritek.
Switch hitter Veritek, but he's not going to use his other catcher.
Ortiz, 35 years old. He hit 32 homers last year and drove in 102. Something of a folk hero in Boston. 2 balls and a strike. He arrived in January of '03. He had been with Seattle and Minnesota in the early stages of his career and really blossomed once he got to Boston. Bounce wide at first base. One of the best DHs ever since that rule came in 73.
5, 6, and 7 at on base plus slugging over 1,000 in each of those 3 years. 54 home runs in 2006.
And he works it to a full count. He's good at doing that.
You see the off year in 2009 got people thinking that maybe he was on that decline, and then bounced back second half in particular last year. Very good first half this year.
Got him on strikes.
Bad pitch, good result.
Yeah.
Look where Corporon's glove is. Watch where the pitch ends up.
Now Brad Mills is going to send out Brian Bogusevic to left field in a double switch. And we'll be right back with the score, 7-5 Boston. Trouble here in the 8th inning. The Astros pulling a couple of moves here. The pitcher is Enario Del Rosario with an 0-2 record, a 5.09 ERA. He will come in to face Darnell McDonald with 2 men on and 1 out here in the 8th inning. And the new left fielder is Brian Bogusevic. He'll bat 9th.
EDR probably thrilled that the calendar has flipped to July, because June was very unkind to him. He was 0-2 with a 9.53 earned run average. Had been red hot, then went through a real rough patch. Last time out against the Rangers, pitched well, got 3 ground ball outs, 3 down inning.
McDonald takes ball 1.
It was on Tuesday, so he comes into this game well rested. Brad Mills hoping to get that ground ball, run that sinker in on his hands.
That went a little bit too far in. It's 2-0. He's pitcher number 5 for Brad Mills tonight. That's a good one, but no contact, so it's 2 balls, 1 strike. Could have been a double play ball had he hit it. Foul. Watch out. Saltalamacchia putting his hand to his head as that barrel went flying close to where he was running.
Yeah, never saw it. That was dangerous.
In the air and near the left field line. 3 players giving chase. It's foul and it's in the seats. Still 2-2 on McDonald. As Drupal Cabrera came into that game tonight with 13 homers and 47 runs batted in. And not too far off the high of 55 at the All-Star break by an Indian shortstop, Julio Franco, 1996. He has quietly become quite a player. Good stop there by Corcoran. Now it's a full count. It's Arizona 1, Oakland nothing. They're in the bottom of the 3rd at Oakland. Josh Colmeter on the mound for the D-backs. Willie Mopena hit his 4th home run. Fly ball again, headed for those foul seats. Let's see if it gets out of play. It does.
Pretty soon he's going to be their favorite player. Just keeps hitting balls down there.
They're pretty happy with him right now. Dodgers 2, the Angels nothing. Bottom of the 2nd in Anaheim. That's a walk to load the sacks now. McDonald takes a stroll, and with 1 out, it's back up at the top of the order and Scudero. Scudero led off the game with a homer. He's 1 for 4.
EDR's mission doesn't change. Get that ground ball, try to get 2 and get out of here.
Last time he came up in the last inning, he struck out with the bases loaded, but his teammates picked him up. Pedroia followed with a 2-run single, and Gonzalez had a 2-run double after that. One ball, 1 strike to Scudero. Ivan Nova won for the 8th time as the Yankees beat the Mets 5-1. Jonathan Neese, the loser, 7-7. Ground ball goes foul. A lot of this speculation starting to heat up right now that it's July 1st. The trade deadline is the end of this month, so still plenty of time. But nonetheless, that will not stop people from projecting trades. And they're projecting, well, what are the Yankees going to do? Are they going to get a starting pitcher? Brian Cashman said, well, I've got 2 guys on the disabled list who are probably better than anybody I could trade for right now. Up the right field line, it's slicing and foul. Phil Hughes is one of them, and I have to think of the other one, but he's got a couple guys hurt right now.
Well, see, that's the thing too. As a general manager, you can't tip your hand. You don't want to come out and say, we're desperate for a starting pitcher, because you're going to lose all your leverage.
I think Bartolo Colon's the other. He's supposed to be back this weekend. Bouncer 1 hop. Johnson to second, and Sanchez to first. 5-4-3 double play. Second for the Astros in the ball game. No runs, a hit, 2 men left in the middle of the 8th inning. It's 7-5 Red Sox.
Insurance Group. For a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. Action moves to the bottom of the 8th. Bill Brown and Tim DeShane in the booth.
Thanks, Greg. And Houston-born Daniel Bard comes to the mound from the Red Sox bullpen with a 7-5 lead in the bottom of the 8th inning. Daniel's 1-4. His ERA is 2.33. JD was talking about him earlier, an extreme hard thrower and a very good setup guy.
Yeah, he averages about 97 miles an hour with his fastball, can reach 100.
He was a first-round pick in 06 by the Red Sox. Went to University of North Carolina. He was 23-12 there. His father is Paul Bard. Daniel pitched 73 times last year. He set a club record with 32 holds for the Red Sox. Struck out 76 and 74 innings.
And his dad was a catcher who reached AAA in the Orioles organization.
They probably formed a battery a few times. There's ball one to Clint Barmas, who has a pair of doubles tonight. Corporon is on deck. Bogusevic due up third for the Astros. It's a 1-1 count. Clint Barmas on this homestand is now 10 for 21 with 6 doubles. So that adjustment he made with his hands is certainly yielding very strong results. Two balls and a strike. Jair Jurgens joins the club of 11-game winners. Atlanta shuts out Baltimore 4-0 on one hit. Jurgens going to 11-3 with a 1.89 ERA. Wow. Two and two. Jason Hayward hit his 8th home run for the Braves. Tom Verducci wrote a very interesting article in Sports Illustrated, which just came out, about offense at historically low levels. But 20 teams are still in the playoff hunt. Pitching has been really good. Popped up. Infielders converging. Youkilis with the catch. 1 out. Carlos Corporon's 0 for 3. Scored a run in the second inning.
So you're saying that offense is at historically low levels?
Yeah, and I don't know. Let's see. You know, since '92, I know this is the low point.
Yeah.
But that's what the headline says. So we'll read on down there. But he was talking about the National League teams are averaging the fewest runs per game since '82, 4.09. That's a while. Corporon rolls over on it, fouls it for strike one. And American League teams are averaging 4.29 runs, and that's the lowest clip since 1973 when the DH came in. And the league's batting average in the American League is the worst in the 38-year history of the DH. So what's happened is we've had a lot more low-scoring games, more close games, a lot of teams in contention.
Yeah, I think part of it too is well, there's the whole performance-enhancing drugs issue. That's obviously part of it, and because there are fewer sluggers in the game, more of an emphasis on speed and defense. So you're getting a different type of player starting to work his way back into the game.
True. Strikeout. Sal Telemakia throws to complete it. 2 outs.
I think the analysis too is they become more and more sophisticated at being able to find value in defensive players. Clubs are starting to perhaps make some decisions where in the past they wouldn't have. They're like, you know what, this is a guy we'd leave him in AAA because we just didn't feel like he hit at this level. But what he brings to the table defensively, we now have solid evidence that it's worth it. I'm just speculating.
I think you're right. Brian Bogusevic is the batter. We've seen more of those types of players. Guys who do not really hit the long ball very often, but they can do a lot of little things to advance runners or good defensive players. Foul by Bogusevic. Humberto Quintero began his minor league injury rehab assignment. He caught 5 innings tonight, and he was 1 for 3. And he'll continue to play in those minor league games probably until the All-Star break.
It's a cool shirt.
Yeah, it is.
See that?
I'd like to see it again.
Half Red Sox, half Astros.
Okay, I didn't see that. Bogusevic hits a foul ball.
Make another play down there.
Need to see that again. 1 and 2.
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
So Red Sox on one side, Astros on the other. On the back, it says something about Two Loves. Astros, Red Sox. I mean, you can't walk into the academy and buy that. You're going to have to get that made up somewhere.
Sure. Took a lot of work. Strike 3 call. In the 8th, it goes 1-2-3 for Bard, and a 7-5 lead for the Red Sox. Move to the 9th. Red Sox 7, Astros 5, moving now to the 9th inning, and Ariel Del Rosario, pitcher number 5 on the mound for the Astros. Dustin Pedroia, the batter. There's strike 1 to Pedroia. He had the 2-run single to right, a great at bat for Pedroia in the 7th inning. He also has a pair of walks. One goes foul, and it's no balls, 2 strikes.
And that's the difference in the ball game. 7-5, the Red Sox lead, and that 2-run single came on just a dandy of a pitch from Wilton Lopez, who really pitched him well. Pedroia able to win the battle.
Fouls that one away. Still no balls, 2 strikes to Pedroia.
Six-run inning for the Sox in the 7th without a home run. No walks in that inning either. McDonald got hit by a pitch.
Short hop play, Carlos Lee. 1 out with Jonathan Papelbon warming up for the Red Sox. Bourne, Sanchez, and Pedstu up in the Astros 9th. Gonzalez drove in runs numbers 6 and 7 with his 2-run double in the 7th inning. He's 1 for 4. He had a really tough night until that at bat in the 7th. 2 strikeouts and a double play ball. lot of speculation last year, this time leading up to the trade of Gonzalez. Sanchez fields the one hopper, gets it over the lead. That trade happened in December. 2 outs. Now there's speculation about a Heath Bell trade by San Diego, maybe coming up this month.
Well, that was the rumor last year, was Gonzalez and Bell would both be gone, but all of a sudden the Padres started to win, and it kind of changed the thinking out there.
Yeah, a different story for them this season. Kevin Youkilis is 0 for 4 with 3 punch outs. Drew is on deck. 1-1 to count. Two balls and a strike. Texas 15, Florida 2, bottom of the 8th. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 home runs for the Rangers. Nelson Cruz, number 19, Andres Blanco, number 2. Now it's a full count. Fernando Abad went 1/3 of an inning. He allowed 1 hit, no runs, with 1 walk, 1 strikeout. And that's a walk to Youkilis with 2 outs, bringing up Drew. Walk number 6 for Astros pitchers tonight. He's been a hit batsman also, and that was in the 7th inning when they got their 6 runs.
Yeah, the walks have not hurt. Bud walked 4, but those factored in the scoring.
0-1 to Drew. After a long rain delay, it's Minnesota 3, Milwaukee 2. They're in the last of the 3rd in Minnesota. Carlos Gomez hit his 8th home run for Milwaukee. Jim told me number 5 for Minnesota. He's been out with an injury for several weeks. Brad Mills' club hoping to keep it at a 2-run deficit by getting this batter. And then coming up with Bourne, Sanchez, and Pence in the bottom half against Papelbon, it would appear. 2 balls and a strike. Now 3-1 for Del Rosario. Seattle leads San Diego 1-0. They're in the bottom of the 3rd at Seattle. Colorado shut out Kansas City 9-0 at Coors Field. Juan Nicasio won that one. That's a walk to Drew. Back-to-back 2-out walks bring up Saltalamacchia. Seven walks for Houston pitching, and Doug Brocchia will come out.
We've seen good evidence of why those Yankee Red Sox games take 4 hours to play.
Yeah.
And very disciplined at bats, regardless of the situation.
The one big inning has been the difference in this game. The 6-run 7th for the Red Sox. They had 1 hit through the first 6. A leadoff homer by Marco Scutaro.
That's the challenge for a pitcher when you face a team that's really patient and you're trying to hit corners and you're not getting calls and you end up walking people. You have to fight the temptation to just give in and just throw one over the heart of the plate. I mean, you pick your spots depending on who's in the batter's box. You know when to be aggressive, when to be willing to give in, and when to continue to just try to make your pitch. And now Laz Diaz is hearing it from the Astros dugout.
2-0. David Carpenter made his major league debut last night with a hitless inning. Struck out the first man he faced. He looked good.
Saltalamacchia might come out of his shoes here. He didn't get a strike.
Now 3-0. And it's Carpenter warming up again.
Corcoran going out there to chat with Del Rosario. I imagine that came from the dugout, trying to buy some time for Carpenter. Because at this point, I feel there's a real good chance that Saltalamacchia is going to reach as he's standing up there with a 3-ball, no strike count. So you got to get Carpenter ready. If you want him for the next hitter, you got to give him time to get heated up.
Three and 1. Astros bullpen ERA 4.79 is the highest in the National League. Full count now, and the runners will be ready to move. That's ball 4. Bases are loaded with 3 walks.
Del Rosario doing the runoff. Thought he made the pitch.
Bangs down the rosin bag. It's going to be Reddick batting. Reddick is 2 for 3 with a walk. He has an RBI, and he scored a run tonight.
Brad Mills, Doug Brocail having a chat. It looks like Carpenter's going to come into this ball game.
7-5. Boston leading and loading the bases with 2 outs here in the 9th inning. We'll be right back. Three consecutive walks by an Ariel Del Rosario. So the rookie, 25-year-old David Carpenter, comes in for his second major league appearance. His debut went very, very well last night.
Pitched a clean inning, had a strikeout, showed a 94-mile-an-hour heater. Also features a slider and a changeup. Brad Mills, when he came to the big leagues, Mills said he wanted to get him in to a low pressure situation. That was certainly the case last night, as the Astros had that comfortable lead when he came into the ball game. And
This situation a little more intense. Still a winnable game for the Astros if they can pull a rabbit out of their hat in the bottom half of the inning, but he's got to get a big out here with the bases loaded.
Boston has drawn 9 walks compared to none for Houston tonight. Carpenter with his family in the stands cheering him on with that great debut last night. Now comes in a different situation. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Facing Reddick. Reddick 2 for 3 with a walk tonight. Carpenter was drafted by St. Louis in 06 in the 12th round. Traded to Houston last August for Pedro Feliz from Morgantown, West Virginia, and West Virginia University, where he was an All-Big East catcher. Ball 1 at 92. Pitcher number 6 to work for Brad Mills in this game. Converted from catcher in 08. And he had 19 straight scoreless appearances this year at AAA Oklahoma City after being bumped up from AA. Bouncer Carlos Lee falls, tossing, and Carpenter is there to get the big out at first. And the Red Sox leave the bases loaded with no runs, no hits. 7-5 Boston, bottom of the 9th. The Carpenter family hoping for some offense now.
Moments in MLB All-Star Game history. You can go to MLB.com/moments and vote now for your favorite Midsummer Classics. And tune in to the 2011 MLB All-Star Game Tuesday, July 12th, 7 p.m. Central on Fox TV and find out who won. You might watch the game, too. It's going to be a big night.
Now this crowd, 36,279 paid, watching Jonathan Papelbon come in with a 2-run lead. 7-5 Boston. He's 15 of 16 in saves. He's 2-0. His ERA is 3.82.
And just tremendous strikeout to walk numbers. 41 punch outs. He's walked just 6. The Red Sox bullpen has been outstanding tonight. Scoreless baseball. Only allowed to 1 base hit, no walks, 4 punch outs.
Started with Dan Wheeler. He came in the 6th, got 2 outs with a man on, and continued. Matt Albers, Franklin Morales, Daniel Bard. Now Papelbon versus Michael Bourne. Bourne is 2 for 4, has scored 2 runs. Youkilis plants himself on the grass at third. All the way, there's strike 1.
Papelbon 92 to 96 with the fastball. Very good split finger pitch. It's a real put away pitch for him.
He's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Went to Mississippi State. Fourth round pick in 03.
The player's enough to get me out. It's psychotic. Mom played softball at LSU.
Yeah. He's the all-time save leader for the Red Sox. Has more than 200 in his career. Sanchez on deck. Pence due up third. Fly ball goes out to center. Reddick taking care of out number one. Angel Sanchez has a pair of hits tonight. He's 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. Papelbon worked 2/3 of an inning yesterday to get save number 15 in Philadelphia. That was a day game, so he had a little extra recovery time with transition back to night game tonight. And his save situations, his ERA is 2.20 this year. It's ball one. Only Francisco Rodriguez has more saves than Papelbon since 2006. Shallow right field. Trotting in for it, J.D. Drew. 2 outs. And it's Hunter Pence with 2 runs batted in tonight. He's 1 for 3.
That was a big key there for Papelbon to not have to face Pence with a man on base. That's why he was so aggressive. Those fastballs he threw Bourne and Sanchez, not home run hitters, so he didn't want to walk anybody. And just he was willing to pump that fastball over the heart of the plate. Of course, the 2-run lead certainly helps too. Maybe a little bit different approach in a 1-run game.
Carlos Lee's on deck. Strike one. Papelbon is listed at 6'4", 30 years old. One and one. This is the last year of his contract with the Red Sox.
They're making a lot of money. $12 million, something like that. It's a lot of jack for a closer.
It is.
Just when you got an arm like Bard, you could hand him the ball in the 9th inning and feel pretty comfortable about his chances of getting it done.
Good. Ground ball up the right field line. By Gonzalez for a single for Hunter Pence, getting the potential tying run to the plate. Carlos Lee. 2 hits for Pence tonight.
A little bit behind that fastball, but good solid base hit and an opportunity with 1 swing of the bat to tie the ball game.
7th inning or later, 309 for Carlos Lee. He is 0 for 1 in his career against Papelbon, as was Hunter Pence before his single.
Starting to hit the ball with a little more authority in recent games. Good swing.
Back. No balls, 2 strikes. When the Red Sox have the lead after 8 innings, their record is 40-0 this year.
before you know. They're due to lose one, Brownie.
You think?
Sooner or later.
Chris Johnson on deck. Yeah, that's against the odds to continue that for a full season, certainly. Up the middle, and let's see. Pedroia throws to first and gets the out there. As Hunter Pence was close to second base, he couldn't get the force. And the Red Sox come roaring back with a 6-run 7th inning. And then the relievers take hold and keep the Astros off the scoreboard after the 6th. Final score, Boston 7, Houston 5.